Hey guys, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. In this case, I'd like to address a comment that I got from a guy called Matt Booty or something like that. A comment in the video about the bombing, the terrorist attack in Boston. He replies, this Matt guy, "Dude, your videos are kind of losing touch with reality. In my opinion, like wearing sunglasses to protect you from shrapnel." He's asking, all surprised and outraged by my comments. I think I've covered this before in previous videos and such. The idea is not that you're going to be wearing every single day of your life sunglasses, thinking, I'm putting these on because I'm going to be going out today, there's going to be a terrorist attack, something's going to be exploding, and I'm going to be getting shrapnel in my face, so that's why I'm wearing these glasses. No, you're basically doing that because you're going to be wearing sunglasses anyway. Why not make those sunglasses the same ones that you would be using in the shooting range when you go for practice, the same ones you would be using when using a power tool out of a matter of basic safety? Why not make those sunglasses that you're using as best, as useful, as versatile as possible? It is like a filter through which you put each and every of your decisions, from where it is that you're living, what kind of vehicle you're driving, what kind of knowledge you acquire, what is it that you spend your money on in terms of classes, in gear as well. Later on, the same guy protests that advocating shopping over knowledge. I'm going to be getting to that in a second, but it is a filter basically through which you put all your decisions. Survivalism, a friend of mine once put it, it is a lifestyle. And yes, it is. It's basically a way of thinking through which most of your decisions are going to be going through, and that includes the sunglasses thing. In this video, I said that in the video about the terrorist attack in Boston, I said, if you had been standing close to that bomb and you had been wearing, instead of ordinary glasses, you would have been wearing safety shades, safety sunglasses like the ones that I've talked about in the past. That provides a level of added protection from that shrapnel, and it's basic common sense if that ever happens. Now, are you using that always in fear of thinking that something's going to be happening? No. You'd use that because it really makes no difference between using that has all those added advantages compared to just an ordinary pair of sunglasses that really adds nothing to your advantage, besides, of course, being just common, simple sunglasses. It's the clothing you wear, maybe your shoes. Why? You know, if I'm going to be buying a pair of new sneakers or something like that, I try to get something that is as good as possible, as versatile as possible. Maybe I want something that looks good, but I try not to compromise something that looks aesthetically appealing and okay with what I want. If I can, combining that with actual having shoes that will allow me to go through a little bit of tougher terrain, so looking maybe at light hiking boots, something like that looks good and is also pretty sturdy. So that's the kind of mentality I'm going for. Later he says, like wearing sunglasses, carrying a gun all day. He says, wearing sunglasses to protect you from shrapnel, carrying a gun, and all that stuff around your house. Well, carrying a gun is again, it's a matter of, dude, I really don't know why you're watching my videos if you find it offensive, the idea of carrying a handgun. Carrying a gun is something that, when and where legal to carry, I think that any responsible person should go for it, because it is your last line of defense. It's actually your first line of defense if you think of it that way, because if something ever happens, you won't have time. If your life it's ever put at risk by another person that has in his intentions to wound or kill you, you wouldn't have time to call for the cops and hope for them to just magically appear there in front of you to save the day. It is a matter of personal responsibility. Now, I completely understand if you're not the kind of person that carries guns or like guns, as long as your choices do not infringe on other people's rights, you know, just go with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. At the same time, you have to understand that for lots and lots of people, it is a right that has been recognized, and it makes quite a bit of a statement in terms of liberty. If you're not able to have a gun with you, then there's a good chance that you're not nearly as free as you think you are. In spite of all the problems we see these days in different parts of the world and such, carrying a gun wherever you are legally entitled to, it's kind of a big deal. So carrying around all that medical stuff, I believe, is in being prepared, but to a point. About carrying that medical stuff. The kind of medical stuff that I recommend carrying is supplies intended for responding to emergencies where your life may be at risk. That may be anything from being, as we covered in that previous video, a terrorist attack, a bomb going off. It could be something as simple and as ordinary as a car accident. Some of the nastier car accidents are extremely gruesome, and there's serious wounds involved, and if you have medical stuff, as you put it, to help out in your situation, that is definitely an advantage. I don't think that's over the top or anything like that. Then he says, but being prepared to a point, but you're not a superhero, you're not a cop or paramedic, says Matt. Dude, cops are not superheroes either, and this is a very common way of thinking by, I don't like to call it the sheep mentality people, but yeah, maybe it's the way it is, thinking that cops are superheroes, or that cops, and you see this very often in terms of guns. When you tell people, yeah, you know, yes, you have guns, or people that carry guns, oh, but you're not a cop. You don't have the training to. Lots of people think that cops come from another magical planet where they're like in the movies, like cops are like Bruce Willis and Die Hard, and they're all extremely skilled. Truth is that most cops are not as skilled as you think with guns, and this is with all due respect to police officers that are very knowledgeable and stuff. The average guy, the average police officer, does not shoot as well as the serious civilian firearms enthusiast that takes classes, that trains frequently. Not by a long shot. Cops themselves know this. People that know about guns and take place and take classes, go to competitions, we know that because we've seen that time and again. The cop that is a good shooter is because he likes being a good shooter in spite of being a police officer. Many police officers really don't care much about guns. They like other aspects of their line of work, which are great and all, but it's not specifically linked to guns. Actually, many police officers are have a hard time going through the basic requirements needed for them to have their gun. It's not something that they particularly enjoy. So it is a complete mistake to think that cops are superheroes, paramedics are superheroes. Well, you know, they have their knowledge, their skills and such. They're not superheroes either. If you look at some of the stuff that happened with the recent bombing, actually lots of the people that helped out were average people helping out. It was a guy that saw someone bleeding to death because he just had a leg blown off, and he improvised a tourniquet with a t-shirt. You don't have to be particularly trained to help out. Yes, of course, you're not a paramedic, and we all get that, but you don't need to be a paramedic to put a tourniquet on someone that is obviously bleeding to death. That's just a matter of basic common sense. Some of the stuff that I talk about, like C-locks, hemostatic agents, it's a matter of 5 minutes of looking in YouTube. You will find the videos of the companies themselves that make this stuff, explaining how it's used, and it's really not that complicated unless you try to do something beyond that, beyond using gauze or using an emergency dressing or something like that. Dressing a wound it's not something that's reserved for, as you put it, superheroes. It is someone that has a basic understanding of how to use this stuff, and that's it. And same thing with firearms. It is about, yeah, well, firearms, it's a skill that needs to be acquired and such, but it's not beyond the possibilities of the average guy. if that is what you like doing. Now, if your weekends are spent all day watching MTV videos or bullshit like that, then yes. Now, if you use that time for doing other stuff like the ones we're addressing here, it's well beyond everyone's means. And what if you don't have the knowledge to use the stuff you carry? Well, have the knowledge, man. Keep it simple. There are ways to. There are way too many. Here it is. There are way too many preparedness people in YouTube that advocate shopping over knowledge. I'm pretty sure I never did that. I'm pretty sure I never advocate shopping over knowledge. Yes, I review stuff. I review a ton of stuff. I've shown hundreds of knives, own a pile of them. Am I advocating buying every single thing that I'm reviewing? No. Actually, it is the way in which you actually save money, in which you buy what you actually need and not waste money in stuff that doesn't work for you. When I buy something, I go through as much videos as I can. I read reviews. I Google up whatever it is that I'm looking for and interested in. If I'm interested in a particular pair of shoes or a knife or a flashlight or whatever, I look it up, look different videos, look the comments on forums, reviews. All that knowledge gives you the power to make informed decisions and not waste money on junk that you don't need. And maybe that's maybe not the best way of putting it. Not just junk. It's not buying something that is not specifically intended for your purposes, for what you have in mind. So if you want a knife that's more of a utilitarian kind of thing, you go for that. If you want something that is more in the lines of possibly being used for defensive purposes, if it ever comes down to that, it is a different type of tool that you're looking for. So it's not about advocating of shopping over knowledge. Pretty sure I never did that. And I mean, knowledge, if you want knowledge, you have my videos to watch, you have my website in the Modern Survivalist or fearfile.com. There's archives there, thousands and thousands of pages covering basically anything that you could have possibly thought in terms of survival and preparedness. There's a good chance I wrote something about it, and there's knowledge to be gained if that's what you're looking for. And with videos as well, not that different. It is ways in which you learn stuff and you're better prepared for whatever life throws your way. So guys, yes, besides that, another aspect here is the matter of losing touch with reality. When is it that you're not longer preparing, but you're becoming paranoid? For me, the line there, even though it can get a little bit blurry at times, when is it that you're paranoid? When is it that you're really preparing? When what you're preparing for has little or no relationship with reality, or if it does, it is so unlikely to happen that it kind of defeats the point of preparing for it. A good example of that would be, and you see this kind of often, I'm preparing for a solar flare, which is something I saw the other day on TV on a show. This guy is preparing for a solar flare that's going to be an EMP blast and destroys. Well, if you're preparing for that and you're entirely overlooking all the other stuff that is so much more likely to happen, then I think you're losing touch with reality. You're not understanding that maybe you will have medical complications, financial problems, problems related to your immediate location or your lifestyle. If you don't see that and you just focus on the extremely unlikely event of a solar flare or doing this and that, that's the kind of thing that you could brand as paranoid. Also, when your preparations are infringing on your life and your pursuit of happiness, that's another point where I would agree that is paranoid. When, well, I'm not living where I'd like to live because I'm worried about this and that, and so I'm already taking it as a given that society will collapse, this will, the end of the world is coming, and that kind of stuff that I often talk against it. That's the kind of thing that I also agree would be considered paranoid. When you stop living to, when you're preparing and not living anymore, you prepare so as to live happily and a full enriched life, not the other way around. So if it's causing problems with your family, if it's causing problems with your wife maybe because you're completely out there and such, and there's not an understandable, realistic balance in the way you do things. You don't have friends anymore, you don't have neighbors anymore because no one understands how stupid everyone is and how smart you really are, and it's that kind of road that I would agree leads to becoming paranoid. I'm pretty sure that's not the kind of thing I do here, so yeah, not my case. But Matt here says, losing touch with reality. Matt, I was covering a video of something that actually happened, the Boston terrorist attack. You might have heard of it. So it's not losing touch with reality, it's covering something that already happened and left quite a bit of a scar in the people that suffer it. So I don't see in any way how it could be unrealistic to talk about something that happened just a few days ago and claim the lives of people and cause quite a bit of grief and suffering. So that's at least a matter of personal opinion. I think that the Boston bombing was pretty real. At least that's me. But well, that's basically it, folks. Have a great weekend. See you on our next video.